Oh, no,
No?
no.
Why not,
Uh,
Igor?
It's good film. It's good film about love, about relationship. I don't know, but I don't know. I
uh,
like something like this, so maybe I am not mm, man as usual, man
A
doing
typical man, yeah? A typical
typical.
macho. Okay, okay. Natasha, what do you think?
well, as for me, I think it's uh, hard to organize your day during the weekend. I think this is the reason. And for me, it was next to impossible. I was in a hurry when I got Sunday's
Yes.
hangings out. Now I have an alternative, and that's a bit easier. That's why I don't miss
Okay,
this.
okay. I'm actually glad that you said that.
But I
And
think that if you post photo and information after our meeting, everybody knows will know that the meeting was happened, and so and
yeah.
saying, "Oh, I'm lazy bone. I have many other tasks, but other people
Mhm.
try to practice English and they can organize their
Yeah.
day. So uh, it's depend."
Yeah, it's actually a good idea because sometimes I don't post it. Like we had a great discussion or something like that. Sometimes I remember about it. Sometimes like do something else and don't remember about it. But it's a good idea, yeah, to say that it happened, it was great, and you missed it. Something like that.
About miss, I miss it. I don't know that you have to post, but I think
Well,
that
I'm joking.
everybody when they will read it, say understand that they missed something worse.
Yeah, I was joking, of course, because I understand that not everybody can make it, and these are the only 2 days during the week where you can actually spend time on with your family and on yourself. So yeah, it's not that easy, and not everybody is thinking only about English. So yeah, okay. So I asked my previous question about too girlish. Is it too girlish or not? Just because
No.
I in the Facebook group I was asking some our usual participants like Pasha and Olesya if they are going to show up or not. And Pavel said that he couldn't force himself to finish watching it. I mean, he started several times and Mm, it was too girlish for him. He couldn't understand what's good about it.
Actually, I like to. I've never watched this version of this film, never. And actually, it was interesting to watch it because of work not only sujet plot, yes,
The
plot,
plot, yes, very good.
but actually to watch how operating work, who shot it,
Cameraman, yeah.
cameraman, and many interesting details of
Details, that's right.
details of English life, not this moment, but in the past, and
Hmm.
it's not only about feeling, about relationship, and not only about
The story
women,
itself, yeah. Women,
women,
yeah, yeah.
women. But it's really interesting to watch it, and I actually I think that it's maybe the best film that I've never watched at this moment because I'm thinking I thought that maybe um, Lord of the Rings and something
Uh-huh.
like this is the best that I've never seen film. I think that it's curious because it's drama was
Written.
written in 18th century, and it's film without any action, without any some some
No
special
special
work,
effect. Yeah. Uh-huh.
special effects, but actually, its film was full of many thinking and feeling, and I really like it.
Okay, I'm so glad to hear that because I was a little bit concerned if our participants, if you will like it or not, because I love it. I really really like it. But
I finished watched it at 1 p.m. So
so very
this
recently, yeah.
night,
Uh-huh.
this night, and after that I cannot sleep. I go
Uh-huh.
to smoke. I'm thinking so.
Okay. Okay, so 1 a.m. You mean at night,
I
right?
am
1
I am.
a.m. Okay, I see. Well, it wasn't my
For me it
intention.
was. I'm sorry. For me it was p.m. But after p.m. it start a.m. So
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's impressive because the first time I watched it, I didn't know what's going to happen, and I was really nervous and I was really excited, like, oh my God, this time I already knew what was going to happen. And still, I was so not nervous, but I was so excited, and uh, I was sitting on the edge of my sofa and like, okay, okay, please do it or something like that, So this film really gets under your skin, Natasha, did you find it had the same effect on you?
Yes, the attention is how to say it is held by this by the actress playing throughout the whole film, and I didn't read this novel, and I saw this film for the first time, so I was excited and I was how to say it, I was nervous, and I actually I'm not good at guessing what will be next. That's why
Mhm.
I was really in desperation when at the beginning of the film not everything was okay.
Uh-huh.
And for me, it's I think this is the very how to say virtuoso. Uh,
uh Artful,
the very artful playing of the lead actors and
brilliant performance. Mhm.
the whole performance of actors. So they influenced very much.
Yeah, I think acting was really good here. Some people asked me, Kate, you remember Kate from the United States? She asked me if I've seen also British, but it's not a film; it's a mini series with Colin Firth. It's a TV show based on the same novel, but I haven't seen it. I don't like Colin Firth very much, although I liked him in The King Speaks, but in general, I don't like him. Anyway, I loved the performances of everyone, the main actresses who I liked, even the main actresses like Lydia, whom I didn't like. You need to be a good actress to show your heroine in this light that everybody hates her, like the characters that we love to hate, so uh, all those negative characters. I mean, the actor who played Wickham, the bad boy, the bad guy. I actually really liked him in some other TV shows. He's like one of my favorite actors, but here I hated him. It's like, oh, bastard! How could you do that? Like that. Okay, okay. So you both like the movie, yeah?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
good.
good movie.
Yeah, and by the way, I haven't read the book either. I was planning to do it, and I even started to do it when I was much younger, when I was like 20 or something. I tried to read it, but at that time, it sort of didn't work on me. Like I read a couple of pages and I stopped. Now I was just too busy to read it, but I guess I mean it's already on my reading list, so I'm going to read it because I think the dialects on paper are going to be even more interesting. So dialects, I think, is one of those things that make this movie work. It's not just acting, but also the dialogue, how it was written, because the flirting, the way they play with words. And that's why I was a little bit worried, because they talk very quickly in this movie, and the language is a little bit outdated, like from that century sometimes.
Mhm.
And people don't talk like that polite, kind of way nowadays. So I was worried that it would be a challenge, but I'm glad you enjoyed it anyway. I mean, you can always watch it in Ukrainian or Russian and use subtitles or watch twice in different languages. So
I
it.
started watched it in English, but I changed and I watched in Russian with English subtitles. But actually, when I watched it, I was really interested in what happened, and I didn't look at the subtitles because for me it was nothing.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah, you
interested
were
in
so involved. Yeah.
what happened. Yes, and
Hmm.
I plan that I try to, and I would like to. I could I would like to watch it in English, but when I started to watch, I understand that I I don't have so pleasure, so
Hmm.
uh, more understand, and so I changed the language and try to watch it. Actually, not try. I watched it in Russian.
And I think it was the right decision. I think I even wrote about that in the chat, in the group chat, because I shared the movie in English, but I also wanted you to really enjoy the story and the dialogue, what they are saying, and and when you watch it in English, you cannot always appreciate it because they talk really quickly. I mean, for me, it was sometimes a challenge. So it works best if you just watch it in your native language. You appreciate what is happening, and then if you want, you can also watch one specific, scene. For example, for the workbook, Igor knows, I chose just one small scene at the very end when this lady Catherine came to. You remember Natasha, yeah? When she came to their house and started sort of like interrogating Elizabeth, and this short episode is just how what they say and how they say it and how they react. I just loved it because it
I
was.
am not. This phrase was great because I watched it in Russian. That's only "нет." But when you send me this worksheet, thank you, workbook. It's a good practice, and I rewatched this moment,
Uh-huh.
and I watched it in English after, so I understood what happened. But so I catch the feeling, and she said, "I am not," and that's "I am not." It's more that only I
Yeah,
am
she
not.
said, I will not, and I definitely shall not, or something. So she used both will and shall to show that no, I'm not going to promise that, and I shall not go into promise that, or something like that. So it was
Yes,
very interesting, yes,
yes.
playing with words and like to put a lot of emphasis there. So yeah, yeah. So what was your favorite scene? Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of favorite scenes there, but what was yours?
Um, so I'd like to add that I saw this film in English, but I used subtitles, and very often it was easy. It struck me that sometimes when they spoke slowly, and when they discussed some feelings or something like that, it was easy. But when the speech was rather fast, I used subtitles.
Mhm.
Um, as for mm,
Favorite scene?
as for favorite thing, um, Generally, I liked the final scene when I didn't expect she kissed his hands. When
Uh-huh.
she said that your hands are so cold,
Mhm.
and it was such a contrast that they were so arrogant to each other, they were so cold on the surface. They were so cold to each other and even had some kind of перепалка, как of
A fight argument.
of argument, but at the end, she just showed. Well, I think it was not it was not usual for a woman at that time to kiss a beloved man's hands. That's why she was very brave, and she didn't. Actually, she had her own way and her own view on everything.
That's true. That's
But
true.
on the whole, what else I liked? I liked the whole atmosphere of happiness, especially when the girls in the house, the sisters, they were chattering with each other, and I like this when, for example, the как сказать, жених,
The groom or the
the groom,
fiance, it depends.
the eligible fiance was going to the house, and the rest of the girls were smiling at the window. So I liked when it was shown the atmosphere and the friendship between these girls. And the atmosphere was very light and happy. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And they are always so curious. Remember, every time there is a conversation behind doors, they are always listening and eavesdropping. Remember, everywhere, every time
yes,
you open the door and they are standing there pretending like they are doing
over
nothing.
overhearing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was so funny, especially the second time when I watched the movie, or the third time when I watched the movie. I didn't see it the first time, and the second time, like, oh my god, you're always listening. So yeah, Igor, what about you?
So I think that I'm right that this film have many details. If you are interested to watch to rewatch it, and I remember many details that I'm interested in. So I think that is great job of director of this film, and how they shoot. Favorite scene, many interesting, but I like feeling of this film when I watched, for example, sunlight, and I feel this. I feel that maybe I in this moment this maybe grace taste this flavor, grace flavor, this sun that
Setting behind, yeah.
setting behind, and maybe it's autumn, maybe it's I don't know, early spring, and actually it's something about feeling. I watched it and I don't know, it's great. And many interesting details. I like the first scene when you how she goes through a field.
Mhm.
Actually, I think that it's how everything smell, and after that she came at home, and how you can show at film, not in novel as writer, but in film, how you can show that it's not rich family.
Mhm.
And I watched it that I noticed the dog who run through the house, and after that on the I don't know, garden where a lot of not grows but grass, and
Uh-huh.
so you
Feels
see that
dirt.
these dogs at home and outside go the same way, and
Mhm.
so dirty is everywhere.
Mhm.
and after that, some little data when they all of them sat with the table, and somebody try to service all of them. It's not waitress. It's not with livery like you,
Yeah,
and
special uniform.
you see special. It's a special uniform too, but you watched it maybe during the I don't know, maybe 40 minutes you watch only on, and after that, film show you different way of life, rich life, and
Mhm.
at this moment you see eye open
Yeah.
sand because
Uh-huh.
you see different
The
situation,
contrast. Yeah.
the contrast, different way of clothes of these people who service each other, more gold, more uh, less. So it's everything about feeling about some special. I'm sorry, I not have enough words to describe this film
Okay.
in English
Actually,
actually.
it actually makes me happy to see that you have so many feelings and emotions and opinions about the film that you don't even have enough vocabulary. Sometimes I feel the same way, with my vocabulary, which is quite big, I think. But sometimes I feel so overwhelmed with feelings and emotions, and like that. I feel like I'm bursting, and I still can't express everything I want to say.
Genius film. I think that it's something like Nikita Mikhalkov, "Утомленная солнцем," first part, and when I watched it at first time, it's something like this. You watched and you feel and actually smell, and this maybe autumn, maybe uh, feel this. I don't know. It's
So you can experience the film, right?
yeah.
Experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I agree
Uh,
with Igor. As for the nature, as for the nature scenes, the nature sceneries was splendid. Actually, there were very often good English scenery, and the whole atmosphere of the film was made of this as well, and the chirping of the birds. The good weather and even sometimes bad weather, and
yes.
it was I've I think that it was made clear that the main heroine liked the nature, liked to be in the nature, to like to walk and so on.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Nature plays a very important role in her life, and that's why they showed so much of it and in such a good sort of, like everything was soaked with this nature, right? And I remember, not, it was a couple of weeks ago, I was looking where the film was. I started playing it, but I forgot that I started playing it. I thought I started and stopped. And then I switched to a different tab and was doing something else. And then I hear this, like bird song at the background. And I'm like,
mhm.
what is happening? Did I switch on some, like some extension with background, sounds or something? And I didn't even want to check and see where it was playing because it was so relaxing until they started talking, and then I realized that it's the movie playing. But it's it really creates this kind of calm, easy, light atmosphere in somewhere at the back of your head, and you just sit and relax and feel good about it. At least that's how I felt. So yeah, yeah. As for my favorite scene, again, they were like with Ihor. I think there are so many of them. I could just cut the film into my favorite scenes, but one of the most memorable ones is everybody remembers it. It's the scene in the rain when he tells her the first time that he loves her. Remember?
Mhm. Mhm.
It's it's one of those things or scenes when he almost kissed her, but it didn't happen, and I was like, I just, like, how can it be, or something like that,
But
and
actually, it's not about novel, not about, but it's about director of this film who shot it, who tried to explain feelings of each both of them, both of them.
yeah. And I again, I haven't read the book, but I read that this almost kiss, that was actually an improvisation by the main actor, by Matthew McFadden. The scene was supposed to be, just dialogue and everything happening in the rain, etc., but without this sort of almost like kiss. But it sort of happened naturally, and they decided not to shoot it again because it looked so, like interesting and exciting. So they decided to leave it. But I think it was really interesting, and I watched a couple of videos, like people making video reviews of the movie. So they were talking about the movie, what they felt about it, and this scene was mentioned in quite a few of them. So I think it's memorable, not just for me, but also for the rest.
Many really memorable scene at field in the end
Yeah.
with father who last words. If somebody wants to marry into my daughters, come here.
Mm.
I'm
Giving them away. Yeah.
giving them away. So with this uh, old woman, I don't remember.
Mrs.
Every
Bennet.
but Mrs. Bennet, yes, when this fry who first come to this Miss not Bennet, switch your English. Uh,
Catherine.
as you
The,
maybe you remember. I think that you both remember. Uh, this man who in the future got this house and can go out.
Mr.
Mr. Collins.
Collins.
Yeah. Mr.
Mr.
Collins.
Collins,
Uh-huh.
and many words from him we listen about him patroness, this old woman,
Lady
yes,
Catherine. Lady
Lady
Catherine.
Catherine. And we said first scene when Lady Catherine and this interesting person in
Shot. В одном
one
кадре.
shot.
Mhm.
Uh, he was worried about how he stay and maybe sit, maybe stay, maybe sit, and
Uh-huh.
actually it was really cool scene because I see that this how this actor tried to explain the situation
Uh-huh.
because
Uh-huh.
he watch everywhere and notice how is rich and for them money it's the I don't know it's the walls of this life and he explains that how it costs how many she or he or everybody have money and when he stay напротив behind
In front. Or
different of this lady
opposite.
uh, he he didn't know how to stay how to say how to
How to
so
behave,
it's
yes.
how to behave and I watched it watched it on this sense so
I actually didn't pay attention to that. You see, different people notice different things.
because many little details and I think that we can rewatch it many times
Yeah, yeah.
we
Actually,
can
maybe I
in the future.
even do it today, paying attention to this scene, particular scene. Yeah. A lot of interesting points you can miss the first time you watch it, and sometimes even the second time you watch it. Because I remember when I watched this movie the first time, I mean, when it came out, it was like in 2005, I guess. I didn't realize the importance of marriage at that time. I thought, why is he so worried about being married? Like, I mean, I should have realized it. I mean, I was old enough to understand it, but I don't know. I didn't bother at that time. I was like, okay, why is he so like, all these, grooms, not grooms, fiancés, all these, eligible bachelors. Why is he talking only about men? And then when I started digging about these numbers, about how money, about who inherits what, it starts to to sink in how important it is, and why they were so worried. And Mrs. Bennet, the mother, the crazy mother, who, I didn't know what to feel about her, because on the one hand she's so overbearing and so controlling and so sometimes behaves so sillily, stupidly. But on the other hand, I totally get why she wants her daughters to be married. And the actress who played her did a very good job, of showing her curiosity, let's say so, like when she's fainting, when she's drinking, like all this kind of stuff. It's not easy to show a person not just black or just white, but somewhere in between. Okay.
And I like how Keira Knightley smiled during this film.
You did.
I like it.
Okay. Yeah, she smiled a lot. I also read, I didn't post it because I didn't want to post too much, but I read that the director of the movie prohibited her from pouting. Pouting is like, you know, uh, making sad faces, basically. So she was not allowed to pout or not to smile. So there was, I think there was one scene when she pouted, but not more than that.
Maybe you can remember how many times this main I actually
Elizabeth.
want, not Elizabeth, who I'm sorry. I tried to open worksheet to
It's okay.
remember who how have name.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters, so many
Mm,
of them.
Mr. Darcy.
Uh-huh.
During all film, no smile, no smile, zero smile, and you don't notice this, that he is without any shadow to smile. But uh, first time when he smiled, it was when she
Came to visit him, yes.
came to him, and
Uh-huh.
it was first time when he
Yes, I remember.
smiles, and you see that, oh, he can smile, and it's genius. It's
Yes,
genius
yes.
details, because during the film you think that it's okay,
His normal condition,
it's
yes.
normal
Hmm.
condition, but the change, and you see how, and the final scene, I seen, I think that he smiled too in on field. I don't remember, but
Uh, you mean the final scene where they are outside Pemberley?
outside, yes, yes.
It's very interesting that this scene was in American version of the film, but was not in the British version of the film. So they made a special version for Americans, like with a happy end when he brings her home, etc., etc. But it was not in the British version. I don't know why, but yeah. And Americans voted this one of the most, not the most, but one of the most romantic scenes of all times, etc. Yeah, and I think
As
the
for
scene right there when she says when he calls her Mrs. Darcy or something like that.
Mhm.
Natasha, say.
As for the scene, I remember her mother when they were talking during this scene, because she said, "Don't call me dear, because my father call my mother when he is cross." And I thought, what a good family her parents' family was, because for a man at that time to say dear when he is cross, so. And I was thankful for Mrs. Bennet just for this remark, because in spite of her sometimes stupidity or something of the kind, but she was a kind of woman in her heart, and she was like a model for her daughters, not to have very difficult arguments and not to have quarrels and fights with her husband. So I said that to some extent she could be thankful for her mother, because she saw how her father treated her mother, and so
Okay, I sort of like I agree to some extent, but I also think they didn't, her parents, didn't have a lot of arguments. I mean,
mhm.
huge arguments,
Mhm.
more because of her father, because
Uh,
he was sort of lazy to, to get involved in an argument with his wife, because if you start, arguing with that woman, you can never stop, I think.
uh,
She was very, talkative and difficult, I think. But yeah, I agree that she's not as, she's not one dimensional, so some characters are one dimensional,
Boki.
однополосные, yeah, однобокие, and she was not. She was a complicated character.
And maybe you remember the scene when all of Bennett's came Mr. Darcy, and some service person said that
Ah,
Mrs. Bennet, Miss Bennet, Miss
Miss
Bennet,
Bennet.
Miss Bennet, and Miss Bennet.
Yeah, it was so funny. I laugh every time. Every time this scene comes, he says it, and I laugh because it is funny. I don't know if it was in the book, but in the movie, it is extremely funny, hilarious. Yeah. Okay. I think we have had a good discussion already, and I didn't even look at the questions. So, which character do you feel closest to or respect the most?
I don't understand this question. Can you explain?
Well, for example, there are 5 daughters, and if we look at them, I personally feel closest to, the most like me, is Elizabeth, because she also likes reading, and because she likes walks, and because she maybe is not very, very, very beautiful, but she is kind and interesting, and she has her own opinion. And I think to some extent she's more like me than, if, for example, if you compare Lydia, I'm not like Lydia at all. So I'm closer to Elizabeth, I think. Um, are there any characters that you feel closer to?
So close to me.
Too close to you, maybe? Yeah, that you
As you
understand more.
see, this film there are not so many men, so maybe sometimes I so close to uh, all of these. Not Mr. Bingley. Sometimes Mr. Darcy, sometimes Mr. Wickham, sometimes Mr. Collins, sometimes Mr. Bennet.
Uh-huh. So a little bit of
Uh,
almost everybody. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Okay. I
Not
mean,
the main characters, Mr. Darcy. Maybe every man wants to be so close to, so rich and with good feeling and good behavioral person. But actually, I am not. Sometimes I am so close to all of this person.
yeah, I think Mr. Darcy is more like you said, I am not, and I think every man can say I am not exactly like Mr. Darcy, because he was more like an ideal, I guess. At least at that time, when the novel was written, when a man is very rich, and he is very rich, usually they don't have to be kind, they don't have to be good and decent. They just have to be rich, and they will get married anyway. So for a character, for a person, for a man to be rich and good-hearted and caring and smart and it was like a combination of everything. I mean, it's too good to be true. Usually, something must be wrong with him or something. But I guess to some extent he's like an ideal.
Mhm.
for women to want something like that. Natasha, do you agree
I,
or no?
mm, well, I agree, and that's why it resembles me like a fairy tale when I understood that three sisters were lucky to marry a very kind um, and
Three sisters.
three sisters: Jane, Elizabeth, and the third girl who married the priest, Mr. Collins.
She was not
So,
a sister. She was a friend. She was her friend.
she
She was
was a
not from the
friend.
family. Yes, yes,
Charlotte
she was.
Ah,
Lucas.
Yeah, Charlotte
uh,
Lucas.
Lucas. Okay. I misunderstood.
But
Okay.
actually
So,
married three sisters because
Lady
Lydia.
was
Lydia,
married
yes.
too, but that's why
But
I'm asking. It was not a kind man.
yes, so they were so lucky to have. Well, I thought that at that time, when woman couldn't live without a man because he gave her a house and protection, and she had only alternative to live with her parents, but it was I think it was not very honorable, yes, to stay
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah. With your
parents.
relatives, yes, it was the
Yes.
worst possible solution usually.
So actually they I thought uh, how it happened. In fact, was it possible for everybody to have a good husband? So maybe not. As for the character, I feel close to Jane, but actually I adore Keira Knightley as an actress, and I
Uh-huh.
adore Elizabeth as a lead. I adore that she was brave, that she was she stood
Stubborn and open, yeah.
stubborn, and she how to say she stood her opinion
Stood her
and
ground. Mm-hmm.
stood her ground. She didn't agree to marry a clergyman because she didn't liked him.
Mm-hmm.
So and Mr. Darcy uh, was also rejected by her because she didn't put the estate on the first place. I thought, I think she wanted to respect her husband for him to be decent, and the riches was probably on the second place,
Yeah,
something of the
yeah, I
kind.
agree. It was very unusual at the time, I think.
And
Uh,
her character is I think it is extraordinary because it's a bit resembles Mayle's character,
mhm,
because she was not so shy and so how to say it, didn't listen always to her
mhm,
father.
mhm.
So she was extraordinary woman, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Okay, maybe the last question. What does the title mean? How do you understand the title, Pride and Prejudice? And if you had a choice, if you were the writer, the author, maybe you would give another title, something different. How would you call it?
Maybe it's a genius title because during all film and all novel you see how Pride and Prejudice
Prejudice, Pride and Prejudice.
prejudice can force on your mind, on your behavior, on your feeling, how you can change it or not changing, and how you преодолеваешь it.
How you overcome these obstacles? Yes, overcome.
Overcome these obstacles and how you uh, how it can be a barrier between you and between other person, and how can you uh, преодолевать,
Can you overcome it or not? Yeah.
overcome it or not. I think that it's this title is maybe one of the meaning of this novel and this film.
Yeah, I think you're right because actually, when she was writing it, the draft version of this, sometimes writers give like a name and then change it because they find a better one. So the first sort of draft version of the title was First Impressions. It was called First Impressions. And to some extent, it's about that as well. But Pride and Prejudice is so much deeper. It goes deeper because, yeah. Now pride has this a little bit positive meaning sometimes, like I'm proud of something, I'm a proud owner of of somebody or of something. But at that time pride was sort of like a bad thing. And Mr. Darcy seemed very proud. Like he didn't want to talk to anyone, he didn't want to dance with anyone. He was so That's why they had these kind of misunderstandings and stuff like that. So yeah, how everything starts and how everything develops and how they overcome these challenges. Natasha, did you have anything to add here?
I wanted to say one word. At the beginning you said they have a different kind of language. So they used the word handsome as speaking about girls.
Hmm.
And nowadays we use this word
Mainly for
so
men. Hmm.
mainly for men. Maybe there were some more words I didn't catch. Probably it is
Yeah.
good to see for the second time.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, first of all, the words themselves sort of develop the meanings. For example, again, this the second word prejudice. It's nowadays, especially with race problems, etc. It has a totally different kind of meaning, like bias or something like that. I mean, it's still a synonym. So. Elizabeth was prejudiced against Mr. Darcy, or we can say she was biased against him at the beginning until she saw the truth. She actually found out what kind of person he really was. And yes, so everything is about this relationship, basically, what they seem and what they turn out to be really in reality. So, yeah. Okay, do you have anything else to discuss here? Igor, you have read the book, right? I think you told me that you read it a long time ago.
a long time ago, and I remember that main idea, maybe main idea, but it was really uh, many years ago.
But still, you remember that there was no such scene. For example, when we mentioned this scene under the rain when they almost kiss, you said it wasn't in the book. For example, I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't read the book. So,
I'm thinking that it's not in the book, and I'm
uh-huh,
thinking that
okay.
about dogs, about sunlights, about morning mark, not mark, smoke. It was not in a book. It not was written.
Uh-huh, okay, it was not
So
written, but
it was not written. So I am saying that it's from the director of this film.
mhm, yeah. And by the way, it wasn't only a dog. I remember a pig. Do you remember a
Ah,
pig walking in
Yes,
the house? And I
with
don't,
big
yeah,
face.
yeah, I don't remember this pig when I first watched the movie. I didn't notice him or her. I don't know. But the second time, I was like, "Oh my God, there is a pig in the house! How could I forget it?" The first time when I watched it. So yeah, this movie is full of surprises and details, and yeah, it's marvelous. Okay, I guess. We can discuss the marriage if you want to, but I think we mentioned it already. So, do you want to say something? For example, the question number 4 was what attitudes do the characters have in relation to marriage? What they think of marriage? How do they feel about marriage? And how is it different then and now?
You said about there was a question about generation. I thought that I should compare the mother's attitude and the girl's attitude.
Okay.
Uh, for example, there was a scene when uh, I don't remember, maybe Jane and Lizzie, they were discussing that you should love the man. And as for their mother, I don't think that that was the point for her when so she was interested in the estate and
No, I'm sorry, no, because mother, Mrs. Bennet, with little daughter, stay on the street and saw to soldiers, and
uh,
actually, wow, how he is handsome, and so like I don't know, like at
Like
strip
excited
bar.
like a girl, yes?
Like a girl in strip bar and see, I don't know, something interesting, you know.
Strip bar. Well, yes, it for that time it was the version of a strip
Yes,
bar, I
yes,
guess.
yes.
Yeah. There was no better way of seeing more men. Yeah. I didn't think about it like that, but now this there's this picture in my mind. Okay.
but I missed when they were at the ball or when
No, when they were standing, the three of them standing in the street when the garrison came into town, the soldiers,
the
garrison,
Soldiers.
soldiers.
and they were marching along the street, and they were like leading, throwing her handkerchief, and
Uh-huh.
everybody was like, oh, like
Mhm.
behaving like silly girls.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was silly. It was silly scene, and I noticed that it was in this scene was were not only daughters but Mrs. Bennet too, and she feels like a girl, not like women or lady at that
Mm,
time.
yeah, yeah.
She said something like her daughters.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, I guess we'll be wrapping up a little bit, unless you have something else to add. But I think we managed to, discuss all the questions. So, if you go back right now, I mean, it's just theoretical. If you go back to the website IMDb, this database of movies, and there is this scale of rating from 1 to 10. So, what grade would you give, or how many stars would you give to this movie?
10.
Natasha, what about you?
Yeah, maybe eight, nine.
Okay. I mean, eight is too little. I think nine is better.
Nine, nine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a great
For
movie.
for me, I have only if I like it, it's 10. If I dislike it, it's 0. So
Huh.
actually, a lot of time I like it. It's good. It's 10.
And you
For
don't give
for
something
for,
like 6 or 7, no?
for film,
Yeah.
uh, I think that no. At this moment, I like it. So it's 10.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
after that, I will watch. I will watch some interesting different film, and I score okay. It's 10 too.
Uh-huh.
Because at this moment for me I like it. Oh, I
Uh-huh.
don't like it. It's so boring film. It's so horror film. I don't like. Okay, no,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
0.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay. I see. Okay. So I will post. Let me take a quick screenshot of our vocabulary from the chat, because the chat disappears after when we have the video, the recording. Hopefully, it will remain. But there will be no chat. But I will post it in the Telegram group, just in case if you want to have a look at some of the vocabulary. And something. Next movie. Will be a very famous one. I think everybody has already seen it. At least I'm like 96% sure that you have already seen it and you remember it well. It's the movie Forrest Gump. You know
Mhm.
this movie, right? With Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump.
Mhm.
Run, Forrest, run!
Mhm.
I didn't understand this film.
You didn't.
I try to rewatch and maybe I have it, but actually I am remember that I watched it and I don't know. This is finished, and what about this film? I don't remember. Some person who stay
Uh-huh.
at some chair and after that run, and I didn't
Okay.
understand this film. Maybe
Okay.
it's a chance to rewatch and to have a new
Yeah,
ideas
maybe
and
new,
new.
new understanding or new perspective, or just a different impression, hopefully, because I think it's a great movie. I actually haven't rewatched it since the first time I watched it. I watched it only once. I liked it, and usually I rewatch the films that I like. This one I haven't rewatched in a long time, so it will be a good opportunity. And I think it's one of those films that are really good. And again, you can take, you know, scenes and talk about specific scenes, and you can take quotes and discuss just quotes. Like, in Russian, they have "разобрали на цитаты" or something like that. So I hope you watch it and you like it, and we can discuss it together. Okay.
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 Also, Natasha, I don't know if you are aware or not, if you read the announcement in the emails that I sent, but I want to organize another party. Before the New Year, there was a party. You didn't come, maybe you couldn't make it,
Mm-hmm.
but this time it's for the February. I mean, it's for the Valentine's Day, but we are making it a little bit earlier, probably on the 13th of February, on Sunday. So it's free. It's an event where we just talk and chat and discuss some stuff. So, but hopefully in a good mood, like a party mood. If you want, you can bring champagne and sweets or something, and so if you want to join, I shared the link. I will share it again. You can vote for the time, which is convenient for you, and we'll see when it's convenient for everybody to meet. Okay?
Okay.
You are very welcome to come.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Digital здибанка.
Zdybonka, yes, exactly.
Digital здибанка.
Next time I will write it like that, Latin letters, but Zdybonka. Good idea.
Okay.
Thank you again for a nice idea. Okay, have a great time. Thank you for showing up today. I think it was a fabulous discussion. Your ideas were marvelous. Thank you so much, and see you next time.
See
Okay,
you next
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
warm and cozy movie hangout.
thank you, Igor. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.